Caps off, back again. Brewer shortstop Orlando Arcia does more than just play ball, Mark. Apparently he's a full-service waiter, as Zach Davies learned during this interview.
And don't use the excuse that, oh, I'm British, we don't tip here. If you get good service, tip your waiter or your waitress.
See, Davies learned that the hard way. He got the sunflower seeds to the face. Welcome into Caps Off. I'm Phil Murphy. He is Mark Donaldson.
Indeed, and your T-shirt today gives you a little bit of a clue as to who we will be focusing on. Look at that. Is that pretty or what? And modelled by Philip Murphy as well. So we're going to talk a lot about the Cubs today. Coming into the new season, there were one or two doubts about Kris Bryant because he did well in 2016, got the NL MVP, but he had his injuries in 2018. So there were one or two questions. He didn't start this season that well. .232 average over the first 20 games of this season with just one homer.
Nothing's gonna stop me now. What's she gonna do about it? What's she gonna say about me? And I know I talk so loudly. I'm a king.
But he's heated up, and so have the Cubs. Bryant had a stretch of reaching safely in 28 of 30 games, had 2 months through April, already quadrupled that in May.
We had to decide who got the Astros hat and who got the Cubs hat because the games are coming up on BT Sport. It really looked a bit silly if you'd had the Astros hat with the Wrigley Field t-shirt. So speaking of Kris Bryant, continued his hot streak against the Phillies on Tuesday. He went 3 of 4. I'm just glad I stayed up to watch the end of the game. It wasn't Bryant, it was Javi Baez, who was pinch hitting because of a sore heel. He came off the bench to drive in a walk-off single for a 3-2 win for the Cubs. But this kid, Kris Bryant, has really heated up.
And we talked to the Cubs about what it's like to play with the star.
What's the best thing about playing with Kris Bryant?
With KB?
I mean, there are so many.
I mean, I could go on and on.
Number 17, Kris Bryant.
Gone!
Watching him hit home runs.
This has got a chance. Gone. Kris Bryant with a game winner.
You know, it's just fun watching a guy with that much ability and talent.
Nice play by Bryant.
The cage work he puts in.
It is way up the bleachers.
The work on the field, the defensive work.
Kris Bryant isn't only known for his bat, also his defense.
Taking an extra base hit away. Caught! Kris Bryant lays out.
The way he composes himself, he knows he's the best.
To be able to just watch him play and how locked in he is and how focused he is at all times on every single at bat.
He's one of the leaders of this team and just so much fun to watch every single day.
2015 Rookie of the Year. 2016 National League Most Valuable Player. It is great to see him at full strength again.
You know the one negative about being Kris Bryant?
What's that?
He's got to play. Those in the stands can sample some of the food at Wrigley Field, and Kris Bryant's not allowed to, but Phil Murphy is.
So if you head to Wrigley Field, they know how to do concessions right. They've been doing it there a long time. It's the second oldest ballpark in all of baseball, next only to Fenway. So if you find yourself on the north side of Chicago taking in a Cubs game, you can get the short rib disco fries. I'm sure those are fantastic. They have Giordano's pizza there, and the deep dish Chicago pizza is a citywide staple. But you can't go wrong at Wrigley Field with a Chicago dog, available on the main concourse, section 108. It's a hot dog on a poppy seed bun, which I like. Relish, onion, tomato, a pickle, celery salt. Section 108, easy to eat. Quite delicious. You can really feel all the flavors coming together in this hot dog. And again, the poppy seed bun is something I like a lot. Main concourse at Wrigley Field, pick yourself up a Chicago dog if you're watching the Cubs.
So I got a question for you. Okay. Is this the Chicago Cubs celebrating because they've finally been given permission to eat a Chicago dog, or maybe because they ended a rather long wait to win a World Series in 2016?
I'm going to say it's a little bit of both. When you're a club, a pillar of Major League Baseball that hasn't won a world title in 108 years, a celebration like this is warranted. And Mark, what better way to do it than with an epic Game 7 at the Fall Classic?
This is as exciting a game as you could ever play.
We've had a tremendous season. To cap it off tonight, it would be historic.
And it's gone! Fowler with a leadoff home run. David Ross just homered off Andrew Miller. 6-3 Cubs. And a swing and a ball hit hard down the left field line. It's a tie game. Unbelievable.
The rain has returned. The umpires have decided to delay things for the time being.
And the RBI double has given the Cubs a 7-6 lead. It's a swing and a slow chopper toward third. Here comes Bryant on to first. And the Cubs have won the World Series for the first time in 108 years.
It could not have been a more entertaining, difficult series to win.
I don't even think it's really sunk in yet. I feel so fortunate to be a Chicago Cub right now.
I'm so happy for this group and just very, very fortunate to be a part of it.
What this means to the people, I think you can just see the joy in their faces.
Let's hope that it's not another 108 years. Let's see if we can repeat this and come back next year.
It happened, baby. It happened. Every single person that has worn this jersey, I feel like won the World Series with us.
108 years streak snapped in 2016. Comparing some curses here, Mark. The Cubs undergoing the curse of the Billy Goat. The Billy Goat Tavern owner, William C. Ennis, back in 1945, not allowed with his pet goat in the stadium because the goat smelled. The goat's name was Murphy. Ciennis said, them Cubs, they ain't gonna win no more. Took a long time for them to snap that streak, 22 years longer than the Red Sox had to wait out the curse of the Bambino.
Common denominator there, Theo Epstein.
Yeah.
Both.
Orchestrating both. A lot of news around the London Series this week, some of which on the playing surface, which honestly caught me by surprise.
Yeah, so for the first time in 2,200 meetings between the Red Sox and the Yankees, which of course will be on BT Sport, they're going to be playing on artificial turf. Now, this made headlines when it was announced earlier this week. But hear me out here, because the Toronto Blue Jays in the same division play on artificial turf. So I know there's an issue here, and it was the host of the 2012 Olympic Games. However, they're not going to be playing on grass. They're going to be playing at the London Stadium on artificial turf.
This to me is the bigger headline. The dimensions of that center field wall, 385 feet, that would be the shortest in all of Major League Baseball. So you have two teams that are very accustomed to hitting home runs, have a smaller playing field. So you know what? I don't think the Red Sox or the Yankees are going to worry at all about the field when they're hitting the ball over the fence. But either way, June 29th and 30th, Mark and I will be there in London taking in the Red Sox and the Yankees. Oh, how tweet it is. Mark, it's time for the tweet spot, as we here at Caps Off do like to encourage fan interaction.
Yeah, the problem being, as a baseball fan in the UK, especially if your team is on the West Coast, it can be challenging. There's an 8-hour time difference to watch some of the MLB games. But we know there are some very passionate fans out there. What we want to know is, how did you become a follower of Major League Baseball? Let at MLB London Series Twitter account know how you became a supporter. We've actually had one in from Janine Pipe, our first video, and she's got a pretty cool story about how she became a fan of the Red Sox.
I became a Red Sox fan back in 2004. We had decided to book our honeymoon for a little place called Boston. We were already fans of baseball, having watched the Devil Rays play several times at Tropicana Field, so it made sense that we started to follow the Red Sox and look to see if we could get to Fenway. Well, little did we know that landing in Boston in October 2004 would actually mean we were right in the middle of them playing the Yankees in the American League Champion Series. We obviously didn't get a chance to see them actually play, but we did tour Fenway and we watched all the games in the sports bars over there, and I like to think that we were partly the cause of the lift of the curse of the Bambino. A real passion for Boston and the Red Sox was born, and I've been lucky enough to see them play several times over the years, although not quite yet at Fenway.
Again, let at MLB London Series know how you became a supporter. Adam Perry organized a big turnout at Fenway Park May 18th, watching his beloved Red Sox play the Astros. And my good friend, Joe Lenton, representing the UK Mets on holiday in Miami. Poor Joe watched the Mets get swept, but I'm sure had a lot of fun in South Florida, tweeting at producer Ben, having a lot of fun down there at quite an interesting park in Miami. Back to more of the positive. The Mets were honestly dreadful in that series. Here are some of the best defensive plays of the week, Mark, with Web Gems.
Let's start at number 3, the Athletics against the Mariners. Matt Chapman. How about this for a diving stop and a great pick by Matt Olson on the other end. Gold glovers on both sides of the diamond showing off.
Yeah, robbing the Mariners of probable extra bases there. Goodness, what a throw. Number 2, Royals Rangers. Adalberto Mondesi. Pops was quite an infielder. He turns 2. Got to see this again. Mark, if you want to be my Glover, you got to get with my friends. 6'3", double play.
And a red card. Our friend Yasiel Puig, we spoke to him at spring training. We've seen him before just standing still and catching. How about this? Dodgers Reds, fly ball down right field. Puig into foul territory. Look at this. That's got to hurt the wrist. But that's number 1 in our web gems this week. Good old Yasiel.
Mark, you think you'll see another catch like that from Yasiel this season?
Where are you going with this?
Yeah, when Puigs fly. Time for the best home run of the week with High, Far, and Handsome. And no web gem is bringing this one back from Mike Trout.
Oh, every single week. How about this one? This is 473 feet for Mike Trout. It's the longest home run of Trout's career. Only dogs heard that squeal from you. This is the 3rd longest by anyone this season. This travels, and this continues to travel. That stayed hit. So it got me thinking about the longest home runs in baseball, say over the last 10 years, the last decade. That was 473 feet, 505. Wow. Trevor Story, pretty impressive. Fair few Yankees on that as well.
Yeah, Trevor Story, part of a 3-home run night, one of the best hitting performances this season. Trout's, though, number 250 of his career, something of a milestone. Doesn't quite make this list, but Mark, Trout has bigger fish to fry.
You got any more? You've got 20 seconds left. On you go. I'm just going to...
We've got more shows this season. We got a lot of time together in London as well. I'll save them for that, but we hope you had fun on this edition of Caps Off. Enjoy Cubs Astros this weekend. For Mark Donaldson, I'm merely Phil Murphy. Thanks so much for watching. This has been Caps Off.